Thank you so much for joining me on the Julie Tussey Show. Welcome to the podcast that will change your life. We're doing something really unusual today. I got to do an interview at WRVK Renfro Valley Worldwide Radio. It's 1460 AM, and I was interviewed by Charlie Napier. I hope you enjoy this and reach out to me. Definitely leave me a good review if you would. It helps our podcast. Get on the Julie Tussey train. We're going somewhere, baby.
Pop the glam pain. It's time for the Julie Tussey Show live guest current events scathing exposés. The original suburban bombshell, the big blonde baby, giving you the fastest, funniest, most informative 30 minutes of your life. And now, here's Julie Tussey.
My name is Julie Tussey. We never did get the internet working, but you and me both working.
We work hard, don't we?
We work hard.
I always work.
Y'all just can't see how pretty she is and how handsome I am.
That's right. You're missing out, man.
I always tell them I had a face for radio.
No, I think you're pretty handsome, Charlie.
Actually, Julie, we thought we'd do something a little different on the program today with Julie, because she does a lot of things. So I'm going to let you pick the topics, and I guess I'll do a lot of listening and let you educate. I listened to some of your podcasts and TV things that you've done along the way, and found it real interesting. Especially, I listened to one on midlife crisis.
Yeah, we talk about that kind of thing a lot on the Julie Tussey Show podcast. What I did with the podcast was I wanted it to be just a part of my life, kind of like Julie Live, but not really, because I can edit it. But, I've been 30 for a long time because I don't believe in getting older than 30. I just want to stay right here.
Yeah, I don't either.
I know. It's the best age, don't you think?
Yeah.
But when you go through the changes in life and you go through, you go through your 30s, you go through your 40s, and I don't know a whole lot about going through your 50s yet, wink, wink. But there's so many things that happen in your life, and there's so much matter and material that you can talk about, and especially with women. The hormone roller coaster is crazy for both men and women. So we talk about that. We talk about health and fitness and glamour and beauty. And I'm really on a big kick right now about motivation. My whole thing for the podcast, my whole actually kind of theme for my whole life, I started singing when I was 9 years old publicly. So I don't remember a time that I couldn't sing. And when I was a little girl, I remember going around a tree and singing to Jesus. Mm-hmm. And I just loved Jesus so much. And so when I was 12, I got saved. And when I was 17, I went into the ministry. And I did gospel music for 30 years. And so I've always had this really positive message that it's never too late. You're never too young or too old to follow your dreams. And then there are things, though, in life that it takes, and this is kind of what I've been hitting on the podcast, is that if you want to be successful, wealthy, or even just successful in fulfilling your dreams, it takes discipline. It takes some discipline.
I'm sort of a positive Joe, too.
Yeah.
Even in my worst hours, I reach out to God and find where's the good. And it even says in the book of Romans, for those folks that do evil against you, he says, I will repay. It's me that's going to repay. You just trust in me and put your hand where I am, and I will repay. So don't worry about the payment there.
Yeah, exactly, because that revenge is not a very good thing to live with, because you're the one that suffers. It's like unforgiveness. If you don't forgive, that person doesn't even feel that, but you deal with the anxiety of that every day. So you have to forgive, and so that's kind of my whole thing in the podcast.
Don't you think, though, that starts out as probably the first thing in motivation? motivation inside of your own mind. Is you have to have that forgiveness, and and sometimes that's very difficult. I mean, it's difficult. That's a hump you have to get over, though. It's one you have to get over.
It is for other people, and don't you think, Charlie, as you get older, that a lot of times you come to a place where you have to learn to forgive yourself. Like you feel like I didn't accomplish this. Yes, I didn't do that. I'm not where I thought I was going to be. It's too late for me. I'm too old. And you get angry at yourself, or you have unforgiveness towards yourself, and you really have to learn. And this is what I've kind of been my story lately, is I've had to go back and say, you know what? It's okay, because if you really are trusting Jesus, your steps are ordered of Him. And if you've done something wrong to get off the path, He'll bring you right back around. Romans says that He'll turn everything for our good, right? If we love Him, because we're called according to His purpose. And so there's nothing too big for Him. So we have to get to that place where we go, okay, you know what? And this is my big thing. My whole life I wanted to be a size 2. Well, Jesus didn't make me no size 2. I'm called the big blonde baby for a reason. And I'm curvy girl, you know what I mean? And as you get older, you gain weight easier. It's been this huge struggle. And I've had to forgive myself that I set those standards for myself. And I'm actually writing a book right now that I'm hoping to have done in a year. And part of that, in the intro of the book, I talk about how my dad had pictures of beautiful women, and I was like 10 years old, and I remember looking up at them. And in my little teeny heart, I knew that was what I was supposed to look like, 36, 22, 36. That was going to be me. And so that set me up, Charlie, for a life of really tough self-criticism. And so these are some of the things that we deal with. So I've had to forgive myself that, number one, I had that standard and I shouldn't have. I should have just said, okay, I'm a muscular framed woman and I'm curvy. I'm never going to be a size 2 who has no body fat, and I should love me that way. And you know what I did? I held back the love for myself. Right. Because I was angry at me, or I had not forgiven myself. So it's funny how when you're 30 long enough, you get to that place where you do some self-reflection. And you have to look, and you have to value yourself. And I think that in the society we live in, everything's airbrushed, everything's perfect on television, everything's perfect. And you get to a place where you're like, you can never, ever, ever measure up according to society. But we have a big God, and we have Jesus who died on the cross for us, and in His eyes we are perfect. And so you know what I've coined? I have perfect imperfection. I am perfect in my imperfection, and I have learned that life is so much more interesting when not only do I accept myself, but I accept other people's imperfections, because it makes them unique. And makes them somebody that I'm not, somebody that you're not. It's God's creation. Interesting. In your book, how are you going to treat the world today? A young lady, much like your daughter here, I don't know how old she is, but she's 20.
Okay, and this
looks 16,
about 20. And she said to me, we were talking at the store as I was coming out the store. And we were talking about having our devices, and she says, well, I don't have a device. I don't have a Facebook page. And I said, really? And she said, no. And I said, so you're going to be able to communicate and have eye-to-eye contact, and you're a communicator and a talker. And then she goes on to talk about, eventually she said, this little finger here is going to become, we're going to evolve. Our little finger is just going to get shorter and go away.
Oh, my goodness.
And because I was sort of laughing with her, but at the same time telling her that, I do think that the phones are something or another that we all have an addiction to a point, and then our children are maybe too addicted, and we're not going to see the results of this for about another 10, 15 years. And I think we're going to see, some results. And I'm not necessarily thinking it's going to all be good. I think some of it's going to be good. But I think there's also some damage being done socially, emotionally,
mentally,
developmentally.
Yes.
These kinds of words. Sure. So what's your take on that?
I try to implement with our children, and now that they're older, they'll have to learn on their own, but we would try to limit their time. And I guess what I do is, for me, everything about life is, what is your motive? You know what I mean? Like, if the electricity shut off, would we all just die of panic? We would. You know what I mean? If we were like a total blackout, no one had any internet, it would just be like horrible. And we have to watch that. For me, and what I would tell any young girl is, number one, you have to have Jesus in your life first. And that means that you have to take time away from that device. Then next has to come your family. If you're a wife or a mother, those things have to have so much more of your time. And so, in other words, the same thing I always bring it down to, it always boils down to discipline. You know what I mean? It's all about balance. And it's all about motive. Like, are you doing this because you can't not do it? Mm-hmm. Or are you doing this because you're marketing and you got to do it? And even myself, you know, we have the Fabulous Cooking Show, which is on TV now. And we have the podcast, and Gary's launching his own podcast called Real Gary Tussey. And so we have a lot of marketing that we have to do. And I have to make myself put my phone down sometimes, because I am an ambitious person. And that's not a sin.
And that's not
a sin. Absolutely. I'm just, when God shows me or gives me something, you know, it's about the talents. If you bury your talent, it's not pleasing to the Lord. So you have to find that balance of, okay, this is what He's given me to do, and how do I do it? And it's the same way with that kind of thing. I am a little worried about the next generation because of that. And I think it could crash and burn, and I do think it's going to cost marriages. I think it's going to cost relationships. I think that it's kind of a scary thing in some ways. But then again, there's the good side of technology too. You know, that we can reach 1 million people. You know, I was thinking about this. I'm going to write a Christian CD, like a 5-song LP this year. And I was thinking, well, that means I'm going to have to try and, you know, let the churches know and blah, 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 which I'd love to go and sing in churches and speak to women and speak in church. I love all that. But the truth is, I have 9,000 people following me on a social media platform system. Mm-hmm. And so that is such a blessing, because I can make music videos. I can get on and talk anytime God just there's something in my heart I want to talk about. I can get on and do that. So there's always the good and the bad, and it just, you have to find the balance. But for these young girls, I just really, really wish I could actually even put on classes. And I'm thinking about it, Charlie, of doing like how to take care of a baby
sort
101.
Like an online kind of
Yes,
thing?
Yes. And I wouldn't even mind doing, you know, but the Bible says the older women teach the younger women. I was pretty offended by that for a long time, because I didn't want to be considered older. No, I'm just teasing. But yeah, if I'm older than 20, I can teach a 20-year-old, because if you're older and you've lived, we need to impart that and pass it down. And I kind of see a lack of that.
That's something I said to Caden my very last night as we were having our talk and having our little fun time, family time. I told him, I said, you know, I'm trying to give you all I can out of me as long as I'm here.
Yes.
And if I've done that and I've done a good job and you put it to use, then, you know, maybe it'll make your life better. And it's awfully hard for young people to see you and me and listen. They're going like, okay,
they're old.
I don't really want to hear that.
Yeah.
But you do have to keep talking and keep teaching. You never quit teaching.
Right.
No.
And you know, isn't it about the age 30 that they'll turn around and say, you know what my grandpa said? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, I heard that woman say. And it's seed. We just have to sow the seed, and hopefully we can make a change and help people have a better life by, you know, I'm sure you have too. I've learned some things the hard way. I have learned some things the hard way.
We won't even go down that road.
And like even in my podcast, I'll say, I'm just trying to share this with you so you don't have to do this the hard way like I did. I'm hoping that I can contribute to your life and encourage you and kind of show you a different path to make it easier, because ultimately, everyone wants to be happy, and everybody wants to have a good life.
You know, when I come back here after the break, you wrote a song called Prayer for Sarah.
That was Gary's, yep. Prayer for Sarah. It's an instrumental.
Oh, it's an instrumental. Okay. I was looking through some of your music here. And because I've got Mike, he did quite a bit on his particular podcast. We'll talk about that in just a minute. I want to know what he's doing.
Okay.
We'll get back to you here.
All right.
Right now, let me take a quick break. We'll be back here with more Julie Tussey here at WRVK.
Ladies, if you want to shop some amazing, amazing products, go and visit my website. Go to thejulietusseyshow.com/shop. That's right. I said that magic word. You're going to find some amazing and beautiful products there. We have new earrings for spring that are just light and gorgeous. Body bars that we have hand designed that we literally chose the fragrances and essential oils for. A new product line coming out, kicking it off with some great CBD oil from Z-Lease. A great new product line we'll be bringing and introducing to you very soon in a full podcast. You're just going to find amazing things there. You can also reach out to me there. Listen to the podcast. Check out previous podcasters and people that have been on the show. So go give it a try. Go give it a look. thejulietusseyshow.com. Here to show you the impossible is possible if you only believe. After a week of hearing hundreds of I can'ts, I'm here today to tell you you can. Find us on social media at facebook.com/The Julie Tussey Show and Instagram, The Julie Tussey Show, home of the original suburban bombshell.
Our guest today is a singer, songwriter, TV personality, podcaster. What am I leaving out, Julie? Julie Tussey.
All around extraordinarily good woman.
That's real positive. I meant to say a little about Gary there a while ago. I hope he's listening in. And Gary, if you are, I asked him.
Hi, baby.
First thing I asked about when your daughter came through and then you came through, and I said, "Well, where's Gary?"
Yeah, he's on a roof somewhere working his little tail off.
Okay, making
Tussey Homes Incorporated.
Tussey
building those houses.
Well, does he have one of those fancy little radios you can hang out on the roof?
He has this one that looks like it's like 2 feet by 2 feet. Square, and you could drop it off a building. I think it's like a roll bar all the way around it. He plugs his phone in it, and it just is. It's amazing.
They work
I'm jealous.
Gary,
I want one.
Just don't get distracted, Gary, and fall off the building. We're not worried about your radio.
Exactly.
So what's he doing with his podcast?
He is. We're going to be launching it in April, and it's called the Real Gary Tussey Podcast. The intro's kind of funny, but what it's mostly going to be about is two things: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He says he'll talk about politics without all the politics. In other words, he'll just talk about the heart of government and how we, the people, should, we have the power. That's kind of one of his things. And then his big thrust is, I will talk about Jesus, but I won't talk about religion. And his encouragement of the podcast is, you are created by the Creator, and you need to be everything you were created to be. So we kind of have the same themes in our life, I noticed, but we come at it from two different aspects. And so it's fun. It's only 15 minutes right now. He may do a 30-minute. He hasn't decided, but he's a musician. So his intro music is like hot. It's on fire. It's amazing. And his outro music. And Gary is what we affectionately call media man. You put him in front of a microphone and he's like awesome.
He likes it.
Yeah, it's just him. It's in his DNA, and it's him. And so he gets up at like 3:30 every morning, and from 5 to 6, he does a live Facebook stream, and he does a podcast in the middle of it. It's really, really good. He just started it this week, and it's amazing. So you can just go to facebook.com/Gary Tussey, and you can go and watch him. It's pretty cool.
Gary, I could probably show him my workout.
I know, right? And we have a phone, we have a phone number, and you can call in and talk to him. It's really cool. And now we've set our studio up too, Charlie. It's awesome. We have this amazing studio for audio and video. And so we've brought the cameras in, and when I do my podcast, I can do Facebook Live and a edited video for that. So we're beginning to do that too. And I do believe he's going to have his own show on pretty soon on television too. So he's working on that.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that, Gary. Now, getting back to Julie, we have another topic here we wanted to cover.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the fabulous cooking show that we just launched on WBON-TV in January, and it's on Roku on demand. You just look up WBON-TV, and then I have my own Julie Tussey channel. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Cool. Yeah. And we're getting ready to take it to Lexington to the bigger stations. But how I got the cooking show was, of course, I started out music, then from music became a podcaster. Well, I've been doing that for 3 years. We're going on 150 episodes, and had some great guests, Shemaine Nugent and Julia London, some big names coming in, and it's really, really fun. And good topics. So as a result, though, through that, I lost 24 pounds going through the worst part of perimenopause.
Imagine here we are.
I know. Okay. So it's really hard at that time in life for a woman to lose weight. And I just blinked my eyes, and I didn't change a thing. I didn't change my exercise or my food, and I just gained 18 pounds overnight. And I was already trying to lose 40 forever. You know what I mean? Just forever. So it was devastating to me. So I realized what I was doing, and I guess this is why I made the show. But I was taking my original family recipes. I'm quite a cook because my mom put me on a stool when I was 5 years old, and I started cooking by my mom, who is Italian. Mm-hmm. And on top of Italian food, which is can be spicy, I love Mexican food. So those are really what I live on. And so I was taking these recipes and I was making them lighter. And as I was making them, I had an Instagram following of women who were like me, who were trying really hard to lose weight. They might have been over 30. And I would share my recipes. Well, it got pretty popular. So one day I just said, I'm going to make a couple pilots. So we had a videographer on staff. So I just put together these menus. We did some pilots. So I end up at the Coyote radio station there in Richmond. And I did not know they'd added a TV station, WBON-TV. So I go and meet with the executives, and I'm talking to them about some commercials for the podcast. Well, it's a girl, and she talks as much as I talk. And we got to talk, and I tell her about this sequence of events and how I've lost weight and how I did it. And she said, You have what? You have 3 cooking pilots? I'm like, yeah, we just went out and did them. She said, let me see those. Well, they didn't even sell me commercials. They sold me a package for television shows. They wanted this show on their station. So I get commercials included in it. So what I do with the show, and it's really unique, because most every recipe is my own or my mom's or my family's. I have one that was passed down, and it's the first one I did. It was called Queen Anne Spaghetti. And I cook easy. I've got 6 kids and 8 grandkids. And I cook easy, but you would never know my food was easy to cook. It's flavorful and fantastic. So we will cook the original recipe, and then I will tell you how to make the fit and fat version. Because it's called Fabulous, so I mean Fit and Fab. So is Fit and Fabulous version.
Jillian, is it as good as the harder to prepare? She's shaking her head.
Yeah, I don't know where she came from. She's our shy bunny, aren't you, honey? She's so shy, but yeah, actually, I mean, when you're losing weight, it's not going to taste as good as all the butter and all the cream and all of the, but there's a lot of flavor. Excuse me. There's just so much flavor and seasoning in a lot of what I do. And you carry that over. And, it may be taboo to go, quote unquote, low fat. Now everybody's into keto and high fat and eating high fat. And it's a phase, But the way that I lost weight was I just learned to trim the calories. Okay. So if I'm making this Queen Anne spaghetti, it was a secret family recipe forever. Simple, simple, simple. Brown a pound of lean beef with chopped onions and chopped green pepper and salt and pepper. Drain it, put in about 3/4 of a box of your favorite spaghetti or pasta, and pour tomato juice over it, salt and pepper it again to taste, and pour 3 or 4 cups of shredded cheddar cheese on top. Bake it.
You're making my mouth.
Yeah, it takes. The longest thing it takes is this spaghetti cooking, and so if I'm doing fit and fat, I would just do a whole grain pasta and I would use a low-fat cheese, but not, and maybe a little less cheese. So see, I'm still eating that same flavor everybody's getting, but I've lightened the calories a little bit. You know, I believe it's calories in, calories out. You know what I mean? I do. Exactly, yeah. I think every diet plan, the reason it works is because it will cut calories. But for me, Charlie, and I don't know, you're very physically fit. You work out every day, right? And you're health conscious. I've always been that way too, but my weight hasn't always cooperated with me, and I know that it's, I really believe that no matter what diet I do, it will work. Anything I choose will work if I stick to it.
Do you have a breakfast, dinner, late evening meal routine? I pretty much do. Of course, my wife, she dictates what the evening meal is. Mm-hmm. Like last night it was, I think, salmon. And then whatever, rice maybe, and what else? Something else with it. Tomato with cottage cheese. But in the morning, for the last 18 years, it's been Raisin Bran,
yes,
banana, yogurt,
yum,
1% milk,
yes.
And I hang around 161 to 165. I was up to 165, but that's really a good weight for me. Right now I'm about 161.
That's good.
So, there's a few things that takes pounds off of you.
Yeah. Well, number one, you got to move your body, right? You got to move your body and burn more calories than you're taking in. But the thing is, I've gotten older. You know, when you're young, when you're 20, you're like, yeah, I'm going to eat cabbage soup for 7 days. And you lose 7 pounds, and then you're done. You know what I mean? Or you can white knuckle it and do just anything for a while.
Yeah, but that's not really good.
No. So what I came to was that I want to find things that I will live. Like, I'm done doing the thing and then just quitting because I can't do the thing anymore. I'm trying to create a lifestyle for myself. And so, like you said, I do have things. I love egg beaters with lots of vegetables and a little bit of cheese in them. Mm-hmm. I love a Premier protein shake and go hit the gym. That'll do me. A whole topic we could come and talk about is intermittent fasting. Have you ever heard that? Where you yes, and that's a whole thing. But I've noticed that as I've gotten older, I used to be like if I just cut out fat, I could eat like dry cereal, anything, carb. But as I've gotten older, I got to increase my protein and I have to lower my sugar a little bit. Now, I don't cut it out completely. Sometimes on the podcast, we'll do the sugar-free summer challenge. And we'll get women that'll just make a commitment. Okay, 2 days a week I'm not eating sugar, or 4 days. And we don't even say you have to read every ingredient. We're just like, just don't be eating those Twinkies, honey. Mm-hmm. Don't be getting all the extra goodies. Just cut that out for 2 days or 4 days for our health. Right. They're finding links to sugar.
Oh, yeah, sugar's
they're thinking it was causing cancer. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty scary thought. So, but as I've gotten older, in order to lose that 24 pounds, and I've kept it off for a year, and now I want to get back in the spring where I hurt my shoulder, so I quit exercising, and I want to get back to my routine, and I want to lose another 24 pounds. These are the things I've had to change, and we talk about this on the podcast a lot, and I've had to change that protein. I am not a meat eater. I will eat chicken, and I will eat a little bit of beef here and there. Now, bacon's a whole nother category all by itself. Who doesn't love bacon, right? But I don't let myself have it. I do turkey bacon. So I've had to make these tweaks, and then I've got to cut the sugar. And then I do intermittent fasting, and there's all different kinds of ways. But the easiest thing for me is...
I want you to tell me a little about that.
All right, yeah.
I've got to take another break here, and we'll be back with more. Julie Tussey.
How do you know if you have a drug abuse problem? Here are some of the signs that you may be developing.
I was going to mention about sugar. That was one of the things when I was in 2000. I had 7 stents placed in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and what it was, my sugar was way high, and my cholesterol was way high. My good cholesterol was way down. Well, everybody going like, all you have to do is exercise. That'll bring up your good cholesterol. It's crazy. It doesn't do it. I'm a daily exercise, and I'm lucky if I can get my good cholesterol up to 30, 31.
Really?
Yeah. But I kept my bad cholesterol cholesterol down to 38.
Well, that's good. So that's good.
My cardiologist said, it's good. He said you're balancing it out.
That will be aired live every Wednesday of each month on WRVK at 6 p.m. and rebroadcast.
I mean, there's just so many important things that you're talking about.
And educational, informative program
people
for the citizens of Rockcastle County to be better.
I know.
Do not drink it.
I do not either.
Back to Charlie Napier here and Julie Tussey. She's from out of Richmond, Kentucky. She's a singer, songwriter, TVer, podcaster, and all the whole 9 yards. We normally have had some singing today, but we thought we'd do something different today, just because we can.
Yeah, I love it.
But tell me a little about that intermittent
fasting
thing. You got my curiosity up.
Yeah, there's a whole protocol that you can Google it and research. They call it the main one is called 16-8, and that means 16 hours of not eating and 8 hours of eating. Well, I do more like a 14-10.
8 hours of eating?
Yeah. In other words, you don't eat the salad, but that's like your window for eating during the day. Some people do like a 23-1 or, they'll take it way down. But what works for me and what I've done a lot of research on is especially for women, but I know it works for men too, is a hormone. I think it's a hormone called leptin. There's something in your body called leptin in women, and it helps you to lose weight if it's optimized. And in order to optimize leptin, you have to fast. So what I do is I quit eating at 6 or 7 at night, and then I go as long as I can the next day before I would binge. I'll have coffee with a little cream or anything 50 calories or under, because sometimes I get low blood sugar, so a bite of a banana or whatever I need to. And I try to go 14 to 16 hours without eating. And so mostly I'm sleeping through the fast. Now, Charlie, it's not the easiest thing to implement, but once you get on it and you start seeing the results, it is easy to do.
I was looking at the clock. I guess I am, you said, what was it,
16-8
okay.
is the typical.
And that's probably, like I had my breakfast this morning at about 8:30 to 9. I won't eat again until 6 o'clock tonight, so that would be roughly 9 hours. So I'm pretty close to the...
Yeah, so you're kind of doing some intermittent fasting during the day. I like to sleep through mine because I like to eat food.
Oh, well, I like to talk through mine.
Right, exactly. But I did a podcast, Charlie, and it was so funny. And honest to God, it was a revelation for me, because I came from the generation of low fat, eat every 2 hours, increase your metabolism by eating, grazing all day. So my podcast was called I Got a Hunger Pain and I Didn't Die. And we just are so trained. We are so trained. 3 meals a day, 2 snacks a day, something before bed. You know what I mean? And when you're younger, you can pull that off. Like Jillian over there, she can live on hot flaming Cheetos and she's fine. But when you get older, that you start to lose your health over all that sugar and all that junk food and all that processed food. And I think we lose the ability to tell if we truly are hungry through all of that. Eat every 2 hours, and I don't know. I just find that if I will do this and I will keep my calories to a place where I feel I'm losing weight, I lose a lot more weight. Thank you so much for listening in to the interview with Charlie Napier at WRVK, Renfro Valley. If you'd like more information, definitely go back and check the other podcasts on here to hear, I believe it was episode 47, 48, 49, maybe 48, 49, 50, somewhere in there, that I shared the 3 ways that helped me lose weight. So go and look for those. This is Julie Tussey telling you, you only get one life. Live it to the fullest.
Hi, this is Marilyn. I'd love for you to go and subscribe to the Julie Tussey Show Fabulous Cooking on YouTube.com/C/TME TV.
If you're in the central Kentucky area and you need excavation, we are your company. That's right. Tussey Excavation is here. We are certified. We can dig out anything that you need dug out. We can put it back too. It's an amazing, amazing company. We are here for you. Give us a call, 859-489-6159. That's Tussey Excavation. If life is my oyster, darling, pass the hot sauce.